Okay, so for the next part of this video, we will we will hide this part here. So make this one invisible, so right click invisible or press F7. And we will bring the new part here, which is this section. It's really an arc circle, so if you were to continue that arc here, it will create a circle. This means that we'll be able to use standard move C for this one. So if we want to kind of inspect this part, the most efficient way of doing so would be to kind of bring the robot like this and then follow the curve to this point here, go down, follow the curve in this direction, go down, follow the curve in that direction. So that would be the most efficient way. If I right click the robot, if I right click the robot and press home, I will have the robot in its home position. First of all, in this case here, the home position ain't necessarily the most suited one. So potentially just having something where joint 6 is rotated in this direction or in the other direction would be a great fit. But anyway, so I'll show you later how you can change the behavior of this home position button here, or right click home. I'm going to show you later that you can change those default value in a way that better, let's say, suit your need for a specific project. If I bring it, and in any case at like minus 180, minus 180, like that, perfect. Let's say that I'm going to create here teach target on surface. If I bring the robot to the actual part, you see that the tool is in a direction that isn't necessarily the one we would prioritize. Like I told you earlier, I would prefer having the tool in this direction instead. So there's two ways to accomplish that. The easiest one would be to go teach target on surface, bring it here, and then use either this big blue wheel here to rotate the robot around the z-axis. So the color of those wheels represent which axis you are rotating around. Here rotating around the x-axis, here rotating around the y-axis, z-axis, and you can reset the orientation. The last wheel you'll have selected, or the Z wheel by default, will also be linked to your keyboard arrows, so either up, down, or right or left. So if you bring it here and then, need to select here like that. If you press plus up or down or side to side, it will rotate the tool accordingly. So that's one method. So you could bring the tool like this, let's say, and do your teaching this way. So that would be a solution. The other solution, which I personally prefer, is to give an orientation to RoboDK. So by default, RoboDK will, for the teach on surface, will use this orientation here. So the one that the robot is in right now, and we'll apply it. So if instead you decide to rotate like that, let's say I'm going to bring it to the center point here. If you decide to rotate it that way and now use teach on surface, it will automatically be rotated in the right direction. And I might just give it a small rotation like that. So one point here, I'll create one point here and one last point here. So that will create the move C. We're going to talk about the move C in a few seconds. Here, right in the middle, left, and then bottom left, center left. Here what we see is the reference frame in which we should be creating our targets, and then a last target. And now I can click done, and I have all the targets recorded for the different motions I need to process. Okay, so first thing first, here I purposely did something wrong, or I did a mistake, if I can say, which is that I created all the targets in the frame A reference frame instead of creating it in the frame B reference frame. So it's created with respect to this one instead of this one. So the first reflex you could have would be to select all of that and drag and drop it to frame B. If I do so, all the targets just went away really far. Why is it so? It's because, like I explained you in the previous video, those targets are relative position. Therefore, they are recorded with respect to a specific reference frame. So if they were recorded with respect to the reference frame A, if I bring them back where they were, so what is recorded is not the distance between the target here and this reference frame here. It's between this reference frame here and this target here, which means that if I select all of those, drag and drop them to inspection B, now their position is with respect to this reference frame here, which is farther away because before they were here with respect to this one here. So now they're here with respect to this one. If I want to correct that issue, I'm just going to bring them back where they were. Instead of drag and dropping them, I can select them all, right click, and then change support and select frame inspection B. Like that, this will change what is the parent of those targets, but it won't change the absolute position of those targets with respect in the station. If I select them all, right click, rename group, we're gonna call that inspect B. Then I can start creating the program. This time it wouldn't be a good idea to right click and create program because we want to use move C's, and as I showed you before, right click create program will only create move L's, in fact one move J and a bunch of move L's. So we need to change that. So to do so, we're gonna start creating a program. So create a program here. I'm gonna move myself to the other side here. We're gonna call this one inspect B. We're gonna select the first point here. So it's gonna be a move L to the first point, followed by move C. So if we bring our mouse on top of move C, we can say add a circular movement to a program. 2 targets must be selected. So the 2 targets that you need to select is the let's say if we look at the icon here, that says a lot. So where the position where you are is gray, and then the 2 red. So you're gonna select one transition point, and then you'll follow with one final destination. So I'm gonna press here tab so that I can see the name of the targets. Oh, so I just realized that for some reasons the naming is wrong. So this is 1 and this is 9. So I'm gonna have to redo that real quick. So I'm gonna reorganize that here. One trick here, it may be hard sometimes to do what I just did and drag and drop stuff exactly where you want them in the 3. So another trick is to right click, hold, drag and drop on top of another item, and then you'll have the option to move it before, nested, or after. So I'm gonna go ahead and move it before, so this way I'm sure where it is. So sometimes you'll realize it's a bit harder. So I'm gonna right click, rename group again, inspection B. So now they are from 1 to 9. I don't know how I managed to miss this one, but it happened anyway. So I'm going to remove this move, or in fact, I'm going to show you something real quick. Now, if I was to go to move inspection 1 is here now, which is not the one we want to use. If I right click, link, I can go here and select inspection B1 like that. So you can always change the target that is linked to a target. Another thing I want to show you, F2. If I change the name here for something stupid, it won't update the name as for now. So this is something that I asked to be updated, but for now the naming here won't change. You'll see the same name as before, but if you right click link target, you will see that it's linking to the right target name. So this is just something to keep in mind. Perfect. So now we need to do the move C. So I'm going to select two targets. So the first one being inspection B. By the way, you saw now that, I think I already said that, but just so that you know, things were super fast from this point to that point. This is because the fast movement speed was activated. So if you want to see one play button here, you are at 1 second in RoboDK means 100 seconds in real life. So that will make things quite fast. So I'm going to select nothing, click Control, inspect B. So I'm going to press Control B to B3. I'm going to go and add a circular motion. We will see it appearing here. Move C, inspection B to inspection B3, B2 to B3 in fact. I'm going to go for a linear motion here. So let's add a linear motion like that. And then 5 to 6, we need a linear motion 5 to 6, circular motion, sorry, 5 to 6, like that. Linear motion here to go down to 7, linear motion, and then 8 to 9, another circular motion. So if we were to test that out, circular motion, circular motion, circular motion, and linear motion in between. So that's cool. Now let's create approach and retract motion real quick. So I showed you before that you could press Alt here and go back. Now it's easy because I can see the actual arrow for the Z-axis. I'm gonna hide frame A here. But let's say that you can't reach it because this is a box. This is, I don't know, any machine where you couldn't go through. You can double click the robot and just use this here like that to go back a bit. Translation along Z, create another target. I'm gonna go to inspection B9, do the same again like that, create another target. This one will be app inspect B. This one will be retract inspect B. And then I'm gonna go ahead and create the two subroutine app inspect B, retract inspect B, create this approach here, just the joint motion, retract just a linear motion, and then I need to create the home. It's gonna be minus 180. This will be the home position. This one will be a joint target. I'm going to teach current position just to make sure. F2 home B. Create a program real quick. F2 go home B. Select home B. Joint motion. I do not need those as I'm referring to a joint target. And then I can create my main program. So I showed you before how you could create the main program by adding a new program and adding some program calls, but there's a shortcut to do so. You can also select the program you want to call in the right order. So I'm going to click go home, select control and press and hold control, app inspect B, and then retract inspect B. Right click, I have the option to use make main program. So just like that. So now I have a main program. If I run this one like that, I'm just gonna have to add another go home at the end so that I can go back to my place, Control C and then Control V like that. So that's great. I could potentially move a bit the go home a bit, like something a bit more like that, and potentially rotate that here and go right click, teach current position to record the new position. Yeah, that makes a bit more sense. Perfect. I can hide those targets. I can hide all of those paths. I can right click, add a folder, call it inspection B, select all of that, drop it here, and then now I can run my main program here. Oops, I'm in fast forward speed. Perfect. So that makes sense. And that's pretty much it for this example. Just so that you know, yeah, I'm gonna record another small video next for a bonus example that I have that I would like you to potentially try out if you have some time. So yeah, let's jump to the next example.